the feelings hit so hard at night.
Hello again, YouTube family.
When the sun goes down, thinking about you's my kryptonite.
That's not my intro, but
A little
hello
lost
again,
right
everybody.
now, and maybe I
It's your
didn't
girl
try.
Kay again, here with another Ancient
Try to
Gypsy
work it
YouTube
out.
video.
A lot of feelings hit so hard at night.
What's up? I didn't script this video, so but this is something I am feeling very called to do. It's something I've been avoiding doing. But I feel like somebody out there needs to hear this. They need to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. They need to know that they are not the only ones to have gone through the kinds of things that they have gone through, or, you know, maybe I haven't gone through what you've gone through, but there is light at the end of the tunnel no matter what you're going through. So that's what I'm talking about today. Well, I'm talking about also my personal trauma and experiences, and why I care so much about mental health, and why I care so much about helping people to live their best life in any way that I can. I'm not a professional or an expert by any means, but like I said, I am sharing my experiences and knowledge of personal collection on my channel. If you're new, I do motivational videos. I do Thoughtful Thursday videos. My motivational videos are on Monday. Thoughtful Thursday videos are on Thursday. Soulful Saturday videos are on Saturday. So I post anywhere from 3 to 5 times a week, because I also do bonus videos occasionally. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about the not so fun stuff I went through to get to where I am today. But, hey, look where I am today. Yeah. So, I personally suffer from anxiety, depression, and PTSD. PTSD is not so much a problem for me as much anymore, but I do still sometimes have issues with it. Most of it is due to trauma I've experienced, or things I've gone through. Some of it I think maybe could be genetic. Both of my parents suffer from depression, so it's definitely possible it could be genetic. However, both of my parents went through extreme traumas themselves. So, it's kind of a toss-up in the air there. I've experienced all 4 forms of abuse: sexual, mental, emotional, and physical. Hence why I have, you know, depression and anxiety and PTSD issues that I've had to work through or still suffer with. And I have gone to therapy. I was treated for my PTSD, for my anxiety, for my depression. That's also where I was diagnosed. It's not fun. It's really not. It's hard to talk about, especially to a camera. But, like I said, I feel like this is something that needs to be done. It needs to be, not necessarily my story needs to be out there, but somebody who is watching needs to know that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that's my whole goal here. So, it's time to fill you guys in on my story a little bit. I'm not going to get so much into the nitty-gritty details or give names or anything like that, because it's just not the point. Okay. Anyway, like I said, I was physically abused, I was emotionally abused, I was mentally abused, and I was sexually assaulted. I was raped. So that was a lot to deal with. I dealt with a lot of it early on. I also experienced losing my grandmother at the end of 5th grade. That was the first person close to me I had lost. I think I'd maybe been to a funeral once before, or I think maybe my mom went to a funeral and I had to stay home. I don't know. But that was the first person I actually lost that was close to me. And that was very difficult for me to deal with, because my grandma was somebody who inspired me a lot and was also not always a part of my life, because my dad was not always a part of my life. So I discovered her a little bit late. Still pretty young, but late. And to lose her was kind of a shock, a slap in the face, because she was superwoman to me. And then I was bullied all through school. And around the same time, I was being emotionally abused, and then it went on to be mental abuse, and then furthered into physical abuse. And then I lost a uncle of mine who was Superman. Okay, most people wouldn't see him that way, I guess, but he was Superman. Like, he was the greatest man in my life. You know, my father wasn't there at the beginning of my life. I met him later on, which, nothing disrespectful to my father or anything. He's a wonderful man. But it is what it is. And my uncle was someone who was there a lot. He was there ever since I can remember. And I always hung out with him. You know, like, he was a teenager when I was in elementary, so, like, we didn't hang out as much when he was in school, kind of, because he was also a kid. But we hung out a lot, and he made me and my siblings a priority, and he was fully engaged with us when he was there. So when I lost him, it was very, very difficult. I lost him to suicide, which was horrible and tremendously shocking to me and my family. It was something that we wouldn't have expected from this person, and a lot of us still haven't fully gotten over it, because he was a wonderful, wonderful man. He made everybody smile. He made everybody's day better. So, like I said, losing him was very hard. And then I was sexually assaulted when I was in middle school. So, all of that, right? That's a whole buttload of stuff to have on somebody, especially as young as I was. I'm not blaming anybody really for what happened to me or the things I experienced, because like I said, like, the deaths, nobody could have controlled my grandmother's death or my uncle's death. And those were two very important people to me and my family. It's something that if we could have, we would have changed. But it was just something that didn't happen, unfortunately. And then there was bullying, which wasn't really in anybody's control. Kids are assholes. But, you know, it was a lot. And then about this time, I was put in therapy. Actually, I was put in therapy a little bit after my grandmother died. And then I went back to therapy at this point that I just mentioned. The bullying at school got worse, and my friends quit being my friends because I had been sexually assaulted. I'd been raped, like I said. They quit being my friends because it was causing too much attention, and I began to eat my lunch. Not speak English, that's what I began to do. I began to eat my lunches alone, and after this point, I never really let anybody try to be my friend, because I did not trust these people. I did not trust anybody after this point at all, period. Any trust I would have had for anybody was dead. And if you weren't somebody I previously had already trusted in my life and felt that I could still trust, I was not letting you in at all. And I was barely letting the people in my life. I was very much distancing myself from the important people in my life. So I was very resistant to other people. I wasn't mean. I was mean to people who were romantically interested in me, because I didn't want them to be interested in me. But I wasn't mean to people all the time or anything. I mostly just kept to myself and would try to scare people away, if that makes sense. And then, of course, I did eventually reach a point where all of this was too much. I was in my sophomore year of school, junior year, I don't know. And it all had started boiling up to a point where I was going to just freaking explode. I was going to lose my mind, have a mental meltdown, I don't know. It was all boiling up. It was too much. It was very overwhelming. I was just, so many years of loneliness, sadness, feeling broken, wondering if my skin was ever going to feel like mine again, if I was ever going to feel like I belonged in my body, if I was ever going to feel like I belonged in my family or if I belonged in my community or in my school, or if I was ever going to find people who understood me. And I almost just snapped. But at that same moment in time, I realized that if I was ever going to fully work through my trauma, if I was ever going to fully reach the point where I felt like my skin was mine, I felt like I belonged in my body, I was around people I felt I belonged with, I was in a place where I felt I belonged, like in my community, I felt like I belonged, whatever have you, then I was going to have to fully commit to my healing journey and let everything else go. Well, I mean, okay, with discretion, like you have to eat and stuff like that. But I had to fully commit to my healing journey, so I did. Oop, excuse me. I also realized that when you let somebody live in your head, when you are letting somebody literally deplete your energy just by things they have done or said, even when they're not there anymore, they're already winning, okay? And like I said, I had a lot of problems. Like, I had a lot of stuff I was already working through. So I just realized that my problems were way bigger than any of these people's problems, and I had already survived more than they had probably experienced at this point in their life. Not to be, dismissive of anybody else's struggle or trauma, but I've gone through way more than any of these people were really, seeing. They didn't understand the full picture. They knew nothing about me or my life. As so goes. But, whatever. Because, like I said, they were not in my life, in my energy, in my thoughts. I completely let it go. And the next day I walked into school, and every day after that, I cared not at all, 10 little bit, what anybody thought about me, said about me, tried to do to me, because I was no longer accepting disrespect either. I was going to have enough respect for myself not to accept other people's disrespect. And at this point, when people would come up to me disrespectful, I would straight up ignore their existence, or I would check them. I would put them in their place with my words. Okay? Eventually, you gotta, become sophisticated and smart with how you do this, and even kind of sweet. But at the time, I was just keeping it real and telling them exactly what I thought. If you want to come up to me disrespectful, you better be ready. And nobody ever tried to put their hands on me, because people started to realize I wasn't what I looked like. I look like a very nice, sweet person, and I am a very nice person, until you try to push me too far, or you try to disrespect me. I'm not going to accept disrespect, and I'm going to call you out on it. Simple as that. And I don't argue with emotion as much anymore. I back it up with logic. I might still have emotional arguments, but I find the facts to add in those, because as soon as you hit somebody with a fact, they no longer know what to say. I know that sounds kind of asinine, but that's just where I was at that time. And then I fully, completely committed to my healing journey, and I really put the work into therapy, and I really put the work into graduating, because that was something that was going to better my life and make it easier for me later on. And I also started doing shadow work at my senior year. I started doing shadow work. What shadow work is looking at the negative or bad parts of yourself and letting it go, understanding it, or forgiving it. So, but that's a Soulful Saturday video. Anyway, I started really committing to my healing journey. I started doing shadow work. I started looking at my flaws and seeing what I was doing to hold myself back, what my obstacles were, and what my plan was moving forward. I'm talking a lot. I gotta take a drink. And then I saw nothing but my goals. Nothing but my happiness. I called it my golden tomorrow. Okay? And that is the only thing that I thought about. I ate, slept, breathed, pooped, showered in my golden tomorrow. All I did was manifest it, All I did was work for the little pieces that would build up to this goal tomorrow, like the job I would need, the car I would need. Granted, none of this stuff really worked out for me for a while. Like, even when I got it, like, my car would break down, or I would have an issue with a job, and I would end up finding another job, or... But I'm here now. And I'm continuously building up to making my life as secure and free and happy and as much as mine as I could possibly make it. And that's what I was doing then too. That is what has worked for me. Granted, I add spirituality and affirmations and mental health tools into that. Like, I would listen to podcasts. I would listen to meditations that would talk you to sleep. I was prescribed sleeping pills for a while for my PTSD because it was really hard for me to sleep. And when I would go to sleep, I would wake up from really horrible nightmares. And it would happen every time I would fall asleep if I got back to sleep. So hence the fear of going to sleep. But that turned out not to be such a good thing for me. I decided I didn't like that and found more natural ways to deal with it. Nothing against my therapist or anything, I just didn't like the effect that sleeping pills had on me. So, anyway though, fully committed to my healing journey and to getting to my golden tomorrow. I let everybody else's opinion and doubt and what have you, I left it with them because that's their business. Really, they should be just minding their own business anyway. And a lot of those people are sorry now. Because I might not be fully where I want to be, but I'm doing a lot better than what they expected for me to be doing, or they're doing worse than they expected them to be doing. And I'm not saying that you should wish harm or ill on anybody, because that'll come back 4 times fold on you. You know, 4 or 5 times, I don't know. It'll come back times 2, 3 on you, what have you. And it'll just be bad karma. You don't want that for yourself. You don't want to know that there's bad karma coming your way because you were crappy to somebody or you wished ill on somebody. So that's why we got to be mindful of our thoughts and our actions as well. But let nobody disrespect you. And another thing I want to say about therapy is it is something that really will help you. It's something that even if it doesn't help you fully, it'll at least lighten the load. You might even just want to go to a support group if that's easier for you. I felt like that would have been easier for me, but it was not exactly an option with where I was, location-wise. So I ended up going to therapy, and that's also what my insurance covered. But make sure that the therapist is committed to you, and if they ever get to a point where they say something like you're beyond help or you're hopeless, blah, 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 that just means that they are not qualified to treat you, and you need to go find a new therapist. I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you guys understand more about why I'm so passionate about mental health, about spiritual health, about manifesting your best life, about taking your destiny into your own control, about understanding yourself, about dealing with the nitty-gritty, about reaching out for help when you need to. I know that I am not an expert, I know that I am not a professional of any sort, but I am sharing my experiences and the knowledge that I've collected so far through experiences or books or whatever with you guys, because I want you guys to have extra resources in your pocket. I want you guys to know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You're not going through this alone. No matter how much you think you are, there's somebody out there who cares about you. You might just be pushing them away right now. And if you commit, it may take a long time. It may take years to get through what you're going through. It took years for me. But you will get there. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and if you never ever let anybody take away your fighting spirit, you'll never ever have to worry about it. Additionally, I would like to say that you have to take the responsibility of being the master of your life into your own hands. You can't just say you're the master of your own life. You have to understand there's a responsibility that comes with that. and you have to look at your own flaws and your own detriments and the things you're doing to hold yourself back and work on that as well and be serious about it. But I wish all of you the best of luck. I don't want anybody out there suffering, especially if you're watching my channel. It would be horrible if you were to not reach out for help or to talk about it or any of that, because I'm sorry, I got distracted. Because as soon as you face it and look at it in the face, that's the exact moment it no longer has power over you. And mental health is something to take seriously. It really is. Somebody cares about you. Somebody wants the best for you. They do. And if they don't, then you should want the best for you. Hello? Don't you like yourself? And if you don't like yourself, then that's what you need to start with. If you don't like yourself, and that's what the issue is you don't think you deserve the best, start working on liking yourself. Because you're a really likable person. Okay, until next time, be kind to yourself and your world. Peace out. Bye.